June is Pride Month, and asexuality, represented by A and LGBTQIA, is sexual orientation that is often misunderstood or even unknown to many people.
So today we're exploring what it means to be asexual and also how to build strong, affectionate relationships with those who hold that identity. So here to answer some of our questions, of course, our relationship expert, Dr. Shonda Craft. Great to see you as always.
Good morning, AJ.
Let's start with this. For someone who may not be familiar, can you give us what is the definition of someone who is asexual?
Yeah, so asexuality is actually a sexual orientation where people either have a lack of a sexual attraction to others, or they have really low interest in having sexual activity in general. And so this is a sexual orientation. It's not a disorder. It's not a phase. This is something that is actually an inherent part of someone.
I'm glad you mentioned that because there are some misnomers, some misconceptions about being asexual and asexuality. Run through some of those for us.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the big ones is that people who are asexual don't ever have sex, right? And actually what can occur is that when somebody is asexual, they may actually still engage in sexual activity with a partner, especially if that's going to please their partner, if they want to have children, right, if they're a birthing individual, and so you need to have sex to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's even though they may not necessarily be interested in having sex, they may still do so. Another misconception is that, you know, people who are asexual don't actually have sexual desire or sexual arousal, right? There are different types of asexuality. So some people may be more interested in pleasing themselves, but they may not be interested in having sex with another person or even find that level of attraction to them. Okay,
so a couple of misnomers there. What about a respectful romantic relationship? How can that be developed with someone who is in fact asexual? If I'm not asexual, but my partner is, how do you develop that respectful relationship?
Yeah, so, you know, these types of relationships where you have somebody who is asexual and a partner who is not, those are oftentimes called mixed orientation relationships. And so it can be really important for that partner who is still sexually attracted to the person who's asexual to learn about asexuality, right? To not take it personal that this person is not attracted to you, that there's something wrong with you, right? Like understanding that in general they don't have that sexual attraction. And so how can you be creative and still find ways to connect romantically with that partner outside of having physical sexual activity is something that's really important.
I'm guessing communication, of course. Communication, verbal communication has got to be key when having these types of things.
Yeah, open verbal communication, absolutely talking about, you know, what are my boundaries, what are your partner's boundaries around touch, but also nonverbal communication. Right? Like if you are in a situation where perhaps they are having sex, right, because it's to please you, still being aware that they may be giving you some signals or some signs that things are uncomfortable.
And learning, of course, what is asexuality, having that basis of understanding is going to be crucial. What if you're having these conversations and you don't feel that they're going anywhere? If you're in this type of mixed relationship, when is it appropriate to seek support?
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be appropriate to seek support at any time of the relationship, right? I mean, I think with asexuality, the piece of this is that this is outside of the norm, right? And so anytime we're in a relationship where there's an aspect of our partner that we don't understand or that's new to us, it can be helpful to have a neutral party, a therapist, a counselor, to be able to talk you through some of those situations to make sure your communication is going to be strong from the beginning. Not wait until there's a problem.
I love the fact, too, that we're having this discussion because it feels like we're breaking down the stigma that's surrounding it too. Having more of these conversations is going to be important moving forward.
Absolutely, and it's difficult to know statistically like how many people identify as asexual because, as you said, AJ, there is stigma, right, when we carry identities and orientations that are outside the norm. And so, you know, somebody who's been having sex in a relationship for years may actually be asexual but don't really feel comfortable to talk about it, right? So being able to open it up, being an open partner is important.
Well, Dr. Craft, as always, we appreciate you for coming in and being open and having this conversation with us.
Thank you so much for having me.